G'day, my name is Jeff Gregg and I'm doing this video on find where it's saved to Android. The reason I'm doing it is because there are a lot of people that do things and save things on their phone and never able to find them again. Okay, so what's the problem? You're using an app or doing something within an app on an Android phone and you wish to save some information. You see the save function but have no idea. You use the save function, but have no idea where the information was saved or even the name it was saved as. Now, this is now typical of modern computing functionality. It would appear that those in the charge don't want people to know anything about the file system on the devices they own. Hence, with iPhones, iPads, tablets, Android tablets, and all sorts of tablets, tablet computers, and Android phones, the save option operates as I've described above. In other words, you go to save something, you save it, and that's all you know. And perhaps there may even be a function within the app to recall the saved file. However, that's all very well, but you might want to know where it is. But sometimes this function doesn't exist. For example, in Facebook, you may, not actually Facebook, in Facebook Messenger, you may have the option to save a photo or a video, but nowhere will it show you where it's saved to or even the file name that's used. An example will actually do that, right? I'll go into Facebook Messenger, which is here somewhere. Where is it? Over here. No, yeah, Messenger, there it is. Okay. Going to Facebook Messenger I was using a little bit earlier. Okay. Whoops, that's not where I want to be. Don't worry about what this information is. Okay, there's a video that someone sent me, right? Okay, I can play that video, no problem. And when I'm playing that video, if I touch that, and then touch this little down arrow here, it actually downloads the video. It's downloading the video. That's it. It just says downloading the video. That's gone. It saved the video. Doesn't tell me where it saved it. Doesn't tell me the name it saved it as. Doesn't tell me anything like that. So that's a typical situation, right? With an application within an Android phone. So that's the problem. The solution. So what's the solution? Now the solution comes in two parts. The first is having a more detailed knowledge of the app that you're using. And the second is having an understanding of the file system that's used on the device you were using, preferably an understanding of the file system in general. So the first one, having a knowledge of the app you're using. Okay. On all computing devices, information is stored via a file name. Additionally, files can be stored within folders. Folders also have names. And via what is called, I'll just move my face out of the way, what is called a hierarchical folder structure, it is possible to define and also determine where a file is stored. So when you want to save something, it usually gives it a file name, right? And then that file name is stored in a folder. Trouble is, there are thousands in Android files and folders, typically. Not all of them are accessible by everybody, but if you want to find one, if you want to find out where something's stored, you have to understand that. Now, depending on the app, where it is stored and the name it is given may or may not be provided to you. So that's the big problem. It may be provided, it may not be provided. So let's look at a couple of different scenarios, about 4 or 5 scenarios of how this all works. Okay. Some apps are more of the old school and have a save and save as function, which allows you to determine the name of the file used to save the data and where it's going to be saved to. In this particular case, you're fully in control and can determine where you're going to store the data and the name you're going to give to that saved data, hence where to retrieve it from in the future. An example of such an application that I use on my phone is called WPS Office. There are probably many such applications. So let's actually go into WPS Office. I'm not here to show you how to use WPS Office, right? I'm just giving you this as an example. Now, WPS Office is like Microsoft Office. It gives you the ability to actually create files, create Word documents, spreadsheets, databases and things like that. So this is, whoops, I've come right out of it. This is WPS Office. Okay, rightio. One of the things you'll notice, it's got an open function here. It's got an open, all right? It's also got recent and no starred files. So what you can do is you can open something that's already been previously saved. For example, I saved one a while ago called test.txt. I think it's in the AAA folder. So if I click on open there, right, I can go to this device, right, go into, where are we? It's not in the order I want it. No, it's not there. My documents, not in my documents. I'll put it in somewhere. Oh, I didn't store it on the device. Within Android, you can store things on the device or store it in the SD card. I stored it on the SD card. So I'm going to go back this time to the SD card. And there we are. I stored it in AAA temp. Right? And there's a file called test I did an hour ago. So if I touch that and open it up, there's the file. I just made up a garbage file. All right? Okay, I'll just cancel that. All right. So, same thing. So that's how we're retrieving a file that's stored in an application. I'll just show you. I'll do another one called test2, right? So I'll come out of that, right? Come back one more level. Come back one more level again, right? Also, I want to create a new file. This is what I use to create a file in WPS Office. As I show, I'm not showing you how to use WPS Office, just the fact that it is showing me everywhere all the information I need to know. For example, I want to create a memo, that thing there, all right? So touch that, creates a memo. I can type some text, right? Some more text, just type in garbage, right? More text, right? And when I click on the little disk there, it comes up and asks me where I want to store it. Do I want to store it on the phone? Do I want to store it on the, I'll go back one. Do I want to store it on the SD card? Yes, I do on the SD card. I want to store it in a folder called -AAA temp, which I can create, and I can also create a new folder. So I'll type that. There's that one I had there before. And also, it gives me the ability down the bottom here to type in the name of the file. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that one that's already there. All right, gives me a default name. I can call it test2. Okay, and save it. Okay, save as plain text, yes. Okay, so that's how I've saved it. So I've shown you how to retrieve one, also how to create a file. That's a really good application, so it shows you all that. All right. However, most applications don't do that. So let's come out of that and let's go back to my notes I had before. Okay, that's where the file name and where stored. So it's showing you both the file name and where stored. Now, the next one can show you where it's stored, but no name. Now, some apps may have the functionality to define within the app's settings where information is going to be stored. Because you define the storage location, you will know where to retrieve it from in the future. To determine such a setting exists, you need to search through the settings functions. An example of such an application that I use is an application called AutoBoy Blackbox, which I use as a car dash cam. Now, once again, I'm not here to show you how to use this particular application. I'm just showing you this is a particular application which is going to store video files, but it's going to have the option of actually somewhere in its settings of saying where it's going to store them. And you can do it multiple ways. So I'll go into this particular application, all right? Where is it? My headings, there it is. My face is going to be in the way. AutoBoy Blackbox, and there we are. I've gone straight into it, and some of its settings, I'm in the settings screen. And one of the screens is where you're going to do the recording. And in the recording it says storage, storage, I'll just do that there. Storage, right? And it's going to tell me that the storage location is storage AF24-15ED, which I think is the name of the SD card, the removable SD card. It's under Android data, com.happy.com, black box files, Autoboy, etc. So if I were to record a video in that and I wanted to find it again, I could go into that particular file area to find it. However, this particular application does have the ability to play the recordings without actually going in that way. But if I wanted to use a different type of video player, or what I do all the time is copy my files that I've copied, stored in my dash cam, which I have on a push bike, not on a car, and I copy them to another drive, I need to know where they are to be able to copy them. So that's another reason you want to know that sort of thing. Okay, so that's that situation. So let's go back to where we were. All right. That's where it's stored, but no name. So as long as you know where it's stored, it doesn't really matter. It can give you all different file names, at least you'll be able to find it. Another alternative, it gives you the name, right, but not where it's stored. So some apps may tell you the name of the file that is being saved, but will not tell you where it is saved. Example is a browser like Google Chrome. When you're saving something from a web page, yet another example would be saving an attachment from an email such as Gmail. All right. So, and in both these examples, the file is usually saved in the phone's storage under a folder called Downloads. Now I'll come and have a look at that in a minute. But let's show you just. Well, I'm in Google Chrome at the moment, and I've got some. We've got a photo there within Google Chrome, and let's say I wanted to save that photo in Google Chrome, right? If I do a long press on it, which is just done, it comes up and it says, right, download image. There it is, download image. So if I touch that, and it says download image, it comes up and says, do you want to download? The problem did it again, I already downloaded it, so I'll say download. So it's given me the name of the file. It says download, and I've got the ability to open it from there, but it doesn't tell me where it stored it. So I know there's a file somewhere called the problem 768 by 768 in brackets 1.jpg, which is on the bottom there. I can open it from there, but if I, which I've just done, go back out of that. But if I wanted to make a copy of that and copy it to a different computer or a different device, where's it actually stored? We don't know. So just going back to my notes again where I had this here, all right? As I've said there, in both these examples, the file, where you do it with either Google Chrome or it's an attachment from an email, in both those examples, the file is usually saved in the phone's storage folder under a folder called Downloads. So to show you where that is, I'm going to use the file manager that I use, which is, I'll just go to that now, which is CX File Explorer. It's the one I actually use, all right? And I'm going to actually find that folder. So it's CX File Explorer. It's not on local. It's local on the machine. It's on the SD drive. On an SD drive, it's on there. Okay. And what was it called? I forget which one we were using. It was for the. I'll quickly go back and try and remember it. All right. It was it's from Google Chrome and it's in Downloads, isn't it? Okay, right. Okay, so I'll go back to my File Explorer here, and I'm looking for a folder called Downloads on my SD card. In fact, it's not on the SD card, I happen to remember. It's on the main storage, and here's one called Downloads, and there's 8 items in it. Okay, I go to Downloads, I can look there, and there we are. There's one called Knowledge. Is that what I called it? Can't remember. Oh, the problem. The problem 768 by 768-1. That's it, right? So that's actually the file. So if I wanted to copy that, delete it, move it, do whatever I like, I can see it. Whereas normally, all I could do is see it. This way, I know where it is and what I can do with it. Okay. So that's a second way of finding the information on an Android when it hasn't told you where the information is being stored. Okay. Let's go back to my notes again. Okay. Right. The last situation is nothing is given. And the last situation is where you are given the ability to save information but have no idea at all where it's been saved to or the file name that has been used. However, often these apps provide some functionality to retrieve the file within the app. Sometimes within the retrieved function, when a file is selected, that is selected or highlighted, there may be a function to provide details of the file. These details may show you where the file is being stored. An example of such an application is Sound Recorder. All right? So once again, I'm not going to show you how to use the Sound Recorder program. I'm just going to show you in the Sound Recorder program, which will give me no information at all about where the thing is saved. Right? When I do save it, it will only give me, it doesn't give me any information at all. But it gives me the ability to perhaps retrieve some information. Let's have a look at that. All right? So let's go into the Sound Recorder program. Okay. So where have I got the Sound Recorder? There I've got a Sound Recorder program. Now a Sound Recorder program does exactly this, records sound. I won't be able to record the sound while I'm using this because I'm already recording this video. Okay, but if I go into the sound recording program, there it is, and somewhere in this is how you normally record it. You just press that button, it records it. It won't record now. But if I press this button, it will give me the ability to retrieve the file, or play back a file I've previously recorded. So if I touch that, it comes up, and there we are. I'll just move that out of the way. It gives me a file name, right? Okay, so that's a little bit of help. But when you save it, it won't give you that. It just comes up, and that's about it. It's only when you go to open it again that gives you that. So notice the name, by the way, is the year, the month, and the day, and the hour, and the minute, the second backwards. I did this one earlier today. All right, it's for 12 seconds. However, if I go in a little bit deeper, like that. This is an example. Play it. If I do a long press on it, the thing becomes highlighted. And notice I get some extra options up the top here. And one of those options is this one here. This is 3 dots. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Those 3 dots. Okay, one of those 3 dots options is to view details. View details. If I touch View Details, move myself out of the way, you'll notice it gives me the file name, the file size, but also a thing called the file path. Now, file path is the link via the way through the hierarchical folder structure of where the file is stored. And this one you'll see it's in that bit there, it's in storage AF-24-15 ED, which I happen to know only because I've used File Manager quite a bit, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on, that's the SD card, the removable SD card, which I've got in this phone. It also is then Android, Media, com.android, sound recorder, and recordings. Okay, so how do I find that? Now, once again, normally you wouldn't want to find that, but let's say I wanted to copy this file and email it to somebody, right? There's probably a link within the app to email it, but let's say I wanted to copy it to another computer or put it onto a thumb drive or do something like that. I wouldn't know where it is other than knowing this information. So how do I find out, how do I actually go through that path? So what I'm actually going to do is, again, go back to my File Manager program, go back to the home about that. Then I happen to know it said it's local. It's on the SD card. I'm going to press SD card. Okay. It's in Android. All right. It's in Media. All right. And somewhere it says Sound Recorder. There it is, that first folder. Sound Recorder, Recordings, and there's that actual recording. Okay. So that's how I found out. Even though when you use the recording function and you actually save the recording, it gives you no indication whatsoever of that the file name or where it's recorded. I was able to work that out. Okay, what happens if all that fails, right? If none of that works, what do you do? Okay, what you need to do then, going back to my notes, all right, okay, here we are. Okay, understanding of the file system, all right? To understand how the hierarchical file system works, you need to use a file manager. Now, later versions of Android, the latest versions, probably from version 7 or 8 onwards, I don't know which one it was, have a built-in file manager that can be accessed via settings and storage. So to show you how to do that, I'll show you how to get into it. So to go into settings, you normally go to a settings menu. I'll just go to the home screen, right? I'll swipe down from the top twice and it gives me a little icon here, which is my settings with Android 9, right? And under settings, there will be something to do with storage, okay? Sound storage, there it is, storage, okay? If you touch that, it opens up. It tells me my device storage is 17.04 gigabytes and total use of 32 gigabytes. And it says internal storage. It also shows the portable storage there. If I touch the internal storage, there, back to there I think, it goes in and gives me more information. This is a file manager that's built into all Android devices from a certain version onwards. And underneath that, it gives you the photos and videos, music and audio, games, movies and that, which are basically libraries, but also shows you files. We go into files and open the file, open this with File Manager. It then gives me a list of all the folders on this particular device. Right? For example, one of them is download, which went into before, and there we are. There's some of the things that I've previously downloaded. Right? So if I've downloaded a graphic or something like that, it would be displayed there. So that's how to get to the file manager that's built into Android. Now, it's got a pretty powerful function. I think there's a function up here at the top to also go and get information, new file, somewhere at the top. Yeah, there's searching function. You can search. So if you're in a particular folder, you can search for something. So if you've got an idea of what the name of something is, you can search for it. I, as I said, don't use this particular one. I use the one that I showed before. I'm going to go back and go into that again now, which is this CX File Explorer. And within a particular folder, or even on a particular drive, I'll just go back to the home thing there. And if I go to the main storage there, for example, I can go up here, tell it to do a search, and search for something. Now, if I had searched for something, for example, my name's Jeff, G-E-O-F-F, I think I've got a lot of things called Jeff. We go through there, it goes through. There we are. It's coming up with all files with the name Jeff in them, regardless of which particular folder they're in. Now, that's all very well if you know the file name. But if you don't know the file name, it can be a bit difficult. If you don't know the file name, all you can do is basically go through every single folder looking for it. For example, the program I'm using at the moment is called AZ Screen Recorder Free, and it puts its videos in a folder called AZ Screen Recorder Free, which is nice and handy. I like it doing that. A lot of programs within the Android system put it in the Android data folder. For example, I've got one here called data, and these are a lot of different applications, and these applications could actually store information in one of these folders. So that's another way of finding out where it is. But if all else fails, another little trick, going back to my notes again. All right, okay, oops, not that one. Go back there to here. All right, okay. Most of the file managers have the ability to search for groups of folders or entire storage locations for a specific or partial file names, which is what I just showed you. Apps that automatically generate file names often do so based on the date and time that a file was created. For example, a file that I've got on my server somewhere is this particular one here, which is 2021-03-2907-58-34.mp4. Now, this is a video file because it's got .mp4. It was created at 7:58 a.m. and 34 seconds on the 29th of March 2021. The file name is made up of the year, the month and the day, as in that format, year, month, day backwards than what we normally do it. the hour, minute and the second. And sometimes these files also have a dash and something else after them. So if you know when a file was created, or roughly when it was created, or even the month, if you were to type in 2021-03, it would tell me all the files that were created on that day, if they were created with that name. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate that, but you can have a go at doing that yourself. Now, the more you understand how the file management system works, the more likely you are to be able to determine where particular apps are stored. Also, a lot of cases, it's just a matter of trial and error, going back and forth through the files, through that file manager, looking for the files. But as I said, sometimes you don't even know the file name. For example, I happen to know that MP4 means it's a movie file, but it could be in a .mov file. So that's some way of helping you, hopefully helping you to find out where files are stored when you have no idea where they're stored. And just by the way, going back to my original thing of when up the top here, I said, for example, in Google, in Facebook Messenger, it actually stored that video, and I had no idea where it stored it. I eventually found out by going through the files with my file manager where it was stored, and I'll show you where it's stored now. So if you're using Facebook Messenger and you store a video file, this is where it will probably be stored. So once again, I'll go to my file manager, go to the home thing there, go to local storage, okay, and somewhere there are, I think, documents, back up, forget what it was called, movies, there we are, movies, Messenger, and there we are. There's that video that I played before, the same one again, so I can call it up. So if you want to, which is what I did want to do, call up that video and copy it to another computer, another device, whatever. That's how I found it. And I just did that, I didn't have any idea where it is. It's got received, and I don't know what that number is. 814404 MP4. Don't know what that came through. That's some sort of a Facebook number. Right? I could have searched for all MP4 files. In this particular case, I just went through and happened to fluke on the file called movies and found it in there. Good place to put it, I suppose. Sometimes it's a little bit logical. A lot of cases it's not. It could be just hidden in one of these other depth files. If you've got any questions, ask me. Other than that, that's it. See you later. Bye. Is that going to work?